Tell me when we're live.
My audio is clear, right? It's clear, right? Okay, yeah. Because the airport's right in front, it interferes.
Oh yeah, we're good. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another tap.
Tap,
Tap tap
tap
tap tap
that.
tap 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 tap.
Tap dance it.
We'll have a theme song at one point. Uh,
Better include tap dance
hey,
it.
yeah, yeah. So today, I am sorry. How do you say
You
Gupta?
said it right, monotone. Ah, yes.
Boom. We got
Perfect.
it. Uh, dude, this guy is interesting. Ian has been in the industry for over 15 years. Uh, and please, actually, I want to pass it on to you, and so you can describe what
Sure,
you've done
yeah.
in your journey. We would love to hear what your story.
Absolutely. Yeah, so hey guys, I basically have 16 years of career in animation is what primarily people know me for, but ideally there are these other skill sets that I've been working on the side, other businesses that I've been working on the side, which usually people are not aware of. But my history goes back in 2006, when I graduated from high school in India. I went to this design school. It's called National Institute of Design. I went there for about a year. Then I moved to Canada. Canada, 1 year, I did the art fundamentals. I was at art fundamentals. I was getting like, this is like basic art fundamentals where they're teaching you how to cut paper, and I got really frustrated. So I went to the program coordinator, and then back in the day, there used to be a thing called art fundamental animation. So I went into that program for 1 year. Through that, I got peer tutors involved, and then I got into the animation program. I did the 4 years animation program at Sheridan College. In between, I did not expect that the summers were this long because in India it's usually just 2 months. So I
Yeah.
decided to go to New York Film Academy in New York
Oh,
for live action directing. So I did that course there for about 2 months over the summer. Then another summer, I just went to India for some research for my fourth year film. And then another summer, I worked in, I was one of the last few people who got their internship, because ideally what happens at Sheridan College is that if you get an internship, you get in, then you can apply for the other ones, right? So I wanted to be like, hey, I wanted to diversify, which is what we're going to talk about. So I wanted to diversify from animation. So I ended up going into advertising. So I was in advertising for
nice.
about 3 months for my internship at a studio called Zinc Digital Agency. They still exist. They're on King and Spadina. They're the nicest people I've ever worked with, and that
Nice.
has been my core base where I've learned so much. My whole base has been in After Effects, the 3D mixing, 2D illustrations, everything, right? Once that happened, 2011, I graduated. Again, it was kind of like the same state of the industry. Through a friend of mine, I heard that Seneca had a nice program for game design. So I went into the game design program at Seneca. I did about one semester, and ideally, what ends up happening is that the second semester is usually a group project, and I think I've done enough group projects in third year and fourth year. So I decided was like, okay, so I had a friend of mine who was interning at Nickelodeon Burbank. So I reached her, and then again, as we talk about, right, we're gonna get to it. I'm gonna show you these ropes which might work
Yeah.
for you to get a job. So I reached that friend. That friend got me, and she was in HR. She was an intern in HR, so she got me a phone interview with them, and then again, you have to take the battle on your own. So I luckily I was able to impress them enough that they offered me the internship. But again, this was the time when the internships were unpaid, so I had to take a little bit of a loan. And then I went to Burbank. I did the 4 months there, and then you kind of have to understand these things, right? That even the internship, because it's on a J1 visa, the internship counts to get you a social security number. So I was able to get that. That helps you in the future, right? So there are these little things and nooks that help you. Anyways, I did Nickelodeon internship. I came back again. The state of the industry wasn't the best. I basically what happened. I ended up working in Staples for the computer tech department. But I've given about 8 to 20 tests for different things at
Wow.
Nickelodeon, at Disney, at Hulu, at a bunch of places, and I wasn't able to hear back while I was still inside, right? This happens. Don't worry. The trick is that you have to keep trying, right? So none of that happened, but here's the thing that happened, right? So the buddy that I told that, hey, I gave a layout test and interview at a studio called Nine Story for a show called Forget About It, and I believe you worked on it, Sonia, right? Or Oh, lovely. So I gave a layout test and interview, and then I told my buddy, and my buddy was already had work experience while I was doing internship. So he ends up getting the job instead of me without an interview. But that's great. I'm happy for him. See, the trick is you have to be a well-wisher for everyone. You
Yeah.
don't take anything personally. So
Yeah.
watch this. So I was like happy he got it. I worked at Staples for about a year. The person who interviewed me, I heard that she had broken her wrist or foot, I believe. I don't know, one of those from a networking party I was at. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna just message her and like wish her well, hope she's okay. Next thing you know, yeah, and next thing you know, she sends me a contract for compositor. And I'm like, what is
Nice.
compositor? I have no idea
Uh,
because they never showed me what compositor is. And I had no idea, but supposedly I was working on a compositor. So that friend of mine who was already inside referred me and for compositor, and that's how I got a contract. And I said yes, and I had no idea. And I joined in, and 1 week later, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? But then you meet like really, really nice people who really guide you. I do want to mention him, Andy. I don't know if you know Andy Tekin. Andy Gutierrez. He was the animation director, I
I
believe,
don't.
back then.
Oh,
He was in Nirvana, I believe, after later, much later. But he guided me. He told me like, okay, this try this, and he would stay after hours to even help me with understanding that. And then I caught up. Of course, you still have to do the work. And then in Nine Story, then you start once you're in, you start building this rapport, right? So I did. There's a lot basically. It will take up the whole evening, but basically the idea is that I was able to do assistant editing. I was able to do layout design. I was able to do BG paint because I'm part in the
you got the
comp.
in.
Yeah, I'm at the end, right? But you kind of hear like if you're not getting enough work, that means the beginning part is suffering somewhere in the pipeline. So you understand that, you reach the producer and be like, hey, I can offer my services here. So I did over time after hours to do those. I did a bunch of demos, pilots. I While I was even there for my 8 years, I ran their soccer team. I got funding for that. I ran the soccer team there with the intramurals. We won leagues. Every Tuesday, I would host like soccer games for the animation community. I Right,
That's
like
awesome.
I was chairing the Greenback committee when it got crazy. The town hall lectures on reduce, reuse, and recycle. I got myself certified with health and safety with the Ministry of Labor. So that way I could do quarterly checks of the building with the team. There was a handful of us who were part of that. So then you watch out for the rights for the employees and whatnot, and the company as well. And Post that, I ran their we did climate change protests with the brown bag being part of it. A lot of stuff, right? A lot of stuff. And then you also at some points where you know that there is no show lined up after, a lot of artists leave, right? So I got teams to fly in from Sri Lanka. I got teams to fly in from not fly in, like
Nice.
join in from Paris, Ontario, and then we finished the feature. The Magic School does feature films, things like that, right? You build this whole rapport and everything. And right before pandemic, I believe there was another mainframe studio has started looking out for 2D production, because I believe this amazing producer who we stayed in touch with had left, and then she would started the department there for 2D. And they started hiring remotely, and hey, I was reached to just find somebody who could take the spot. And then I was like, maybe it's about time for change. So I've offered myself, and hey, I was on YouTube, Guava Juice Show, season one and
Yeah.
two. Primarily before that, I was on like 7 to 8 PBS shows and Netflix feature films. And post mainframe, I went into Pipeline Studio for this amazing show, another PBS show called Lila in the Loop.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I lined up with mainframe again for another show called PBNJ. It's on YouTube now. The episodes are up and slowly coming in. It's a great show. So recently just finished last week, and this is just the animation career that I have.
Mm,
On the side, which is what I'm going to get into, is the transferable skills. Is I run my own
yes.
satellite studio called Across Images. We do commercials, branding. I have teams in India, I have teams in Mexico. We basically, it's all the advertising industry or event branding. So I've done like for the last 12 years, I've been doing brand work for this NGO called Bongo Parivar, and they have like over 5,000 people foot traffic every year for just one weekend. And I do the full branding, photography, commercials, all of that work for them. There is another group which brings artists from India for concerts, so I do brand work for them. There is at one point I got like 20 people coordinated in India and Mexico to do a commercial for EuroCup 2016. So recently we just had a medical publication for journals for McGill University. So I did a bunch of scientific illustrations for that. So like all the side that has transferable skills, motion graphics, advertising, book traders, uh, that's all that happens on the side. I've done that stuff. That's been running pretty well. There is a lot of NDA and pitch work that we do too, which hasn't come out yet. But yeah, that's there. And on the side, other than that, I also dwell into like real estate, right? So real estate.
You're busy, man.
Yeah, so
Jack
like
of all
That's
buying
awesome.
trades.
properties, things like that. So then you kind of understand the business there and you apply
Yeah,
that here, right? Like tax credits, tax
absolutely.
write-offs, all of that you learn, and then you are able to manage all of these things. And lastly, what ended up happening was I met this the animation program coordinator for Sheridan College. We worked way back when in at Sheridan College when I was making my fourth year film. I was helping like other people with their films. He was working there in the IT sector, and then basically he would help me because I was trying to push my film so much in After Effects. He would help me script stuff in that. We reconnected at Taffy,
Hmm.
Mario, right? Mario
Oh
Positano.
yeah,
We
Mario.
Yeah, we reconnected at Taffy. Next thing you know, I'm working at Mainframe. He did got me in to do some workshops on After Effects and Harmony and whatnot. And then again, the same thing happened. I get a contract in the email, and and I'm
I
like,
love
"What is
it.
this?" I'm like freaking out because I've always been in the post, right? But post department. But luckily it worked out. I'm happy that I was able to help them out. They got me in as a fourth year mentor for Sheridan College for the last 2 years.
Amazing.
And it's very rewarding that when you see your students being able to finish a full film, and that's how later this Taffy, Sonia and me and Jose reconnected, right?
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
then I'm seeing that all the little one episodic pilots and stuff that you guys are working on are on there, which is basically a short fourth year thesis short films, right? And that's the idea that you're taking forward and then it's turning into something big,
Yeah.
which is where all the creators get empowered, right? So here I am, and that's my journey. And
that's amazing.
fingers crossed it keeps going that way. So
So when you started, when you went to school, did you actually know what you wanted to do? Or did you go in blind, going, "Ah, this kind of looks cool," and you just kept stumbling and discovering yourself? Because essentially, I feel like when you go to school, it's like a big discovery thing, especially when you're young, right? You go in, it's like, I think I want to do this, but that there's a certain something that sparks. What was that spark for you?
my history has been where my grandfather was a commercial artist for the longest time. So art has always been in the blood. The only thing that I really wanted and I was massively passionate was live action. But
Nice,
back then, I knew that live action is never going to be steady. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go with something steadier, which is animation.
right?
And that's where it led me. Of course, again, to answer your question, Jose, there are moments where it felt imposter syndrome, and that was the time when me and my buddies, we were like the last few to get into the animation program. Even
Mm,
when we worked our asses off, we worked evenings, we worked
yeah.
weekends, life drawing. I don't know if you remember those sessions. They were there every day, and we would be there every day. We would do everything by the book, and even then, when didn't weren't able to get in, and I was like, at that word, I was like, okay, I don't know what I'll do, and it happens, right? And that sets you up to figure out what you need to do then. So I'm not losing hope now. So
Yeah.
yeah, I had that moments, but it wasn't something that I didn't know that I wouldn't do this. I knew that I wanted to be in animation, but again, there are those roadblocks you hit, and how you find creative ways to do that. Like for instance, I touched base a little bit on that. So when I graduated from NID, I came into the art fundamentals program, and the art fundamentals program was so basic. They would teach you how to cut paper and whatnot. I was getting very frustrated that this is nothing to do with animation.
Right.
So back then, big shout out to the program coordinator. His name was Andrew Boder. I believe he's retired. Amazing professor and coordinator who was able to see your skills. So I showed him my NID portfolio, and then without a test or anything, he at least got me into the Art Fundamentals animation program. And then I felt content. Otherwise, I was going to quit. I was going to be like, okay, I'm
Right.
going to do this on my own. There are a lot of artists who have succeeded that way too. So shout out to them as well. But yeah, there are those roadblocks you will hit, but the point is to break through those walls and find yourself on the other side is the thing that you have to keep that in mind, because you're creative, you will make a road for yourself. So yes, I had those moments where I did not know what I'll do, but at least I knew that I'm creative enough that I'm going to keep creating, and
Yeah.
that's what keeps you going basically. I
Yeah. I
don't know
mean,
if
that's
that answers your
the
question.
passion. It does. It's the passion that you bring all of a sudden, when you find it. Because sometimes it took me a little while.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I went to computer engineering for like a year, and then they went, "Oh, you suck at math." Actually, not specifically math, but remembering formulas.
Yeah, I know
And I
what you
was
mean.
really terrible at it. And they said, maybe this is not the thing for you. And that's when I realized, because I was always going to the Ottawa School of Art here. And when you hit that spark, like I was saying, it's everybody has that story, right? When you see that moment. When was yours, Sonia? When you realize? Now I'm interviewing you, but I do want to know what
Ah,
sparks you from the point when you start studying and then you go, there it is.
man, we're gonna be here forever. I'll tell
Ah,
you.
good.
I'm gonna
Go
give
Go ahead.
myself like 1 minute, and I'm gonna cut myself off.
Tell us. Tell
It'll be
us.
really quick. I always drew. I spent my childhood drawing off of Disney and Looney Tunes stickers and like stationery because that's all I had like as reference. And then I painted and I went to art classes as it was just like something I just did. And then when I was in I guess it was a grade 7, 8, I was like I just really love how in animation you get together with people and then you work on the story and then you draw and you make a cartoon. Like that's magic. And then I remember
Hmm.
seeing behind the scenes of Lion King and I was like, I want to be like that. And I initially wanted to like animate on paper, right? So like that was still available in
Yeah.
my time. And then when I was at Sheridan, the Princess and the Frog was the last feature they ever did traditionally in that way. So I had to adapt. So I figured I could go into boards, keep telling stories and draw because to me the most magical thing is when you turn drawings into something that moves. And
Yeah.
that's just like what, yeah. And then the rest I just went. I actually did a co-op at Elliott when I was in grade 11 through high
Oh, cool.
school because they were the only
Oh,
studio that
that's
was
amazing.
actually offering, yeah, they were offering cyber art students and like people in high school like to do co-op for 2 weeks at their studio back then. So I actually met people who were working and I really got to be part of a studio for a bit. So I knew it was pretty I was pretty set on that. So I really want to ask Ian because I know Ian from work. We work together and you're like the best ever. I really want to ask you for people right now who might be listening or listening later who really want to still stay in animation, and they may have some skills, they may have a portfolio. Um, what what do you like? There's so many.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do people? What would be? Where do we start now that we can't really get a job right now? Like,
There
what do we do? I don't know.
actually, actually, there is one part that I didn't tell you that I've been doing for last 16 years is road mapping. Road mapping for immigrants, road mapping for students who have come into the country, road mapping for people looking for work. And it is not just animation or any creative sector, it's also the fact that you want to be here. You want to have your PR, you want to be able to have citizenship, start a family, things like that. So there is, I've done a lot of road mapping, and again, I am not the expert in it, but this is 70% of this has worked and it has been tried for the last 16 years, and it definitely has a success rate, and it changes based on what information I get today. So I'm here to learn on that too. So idea is this. So back, this is so basically right now in the market, the people who are making decisions on the very top, there is this AI bubble, right? There is the content creation bubble where everything needs to be on social media, everything needs to be marketed, everything needs to be PR. There's so many startups; they all need to be able to speak the language, capture the market, things like that. So the fact that you know that this exists, every single artist can be empowered right now. Like you are able to. So the idea is this: you have to think yourself as a brand. And then once you think of your brand, okay, these are the things that are in my bucket list that I can do, I can provide. And most of the creatives have been through an animation program where you did a fourth year thesis film, right? In that fourth year thesis film, most of the time you don't have help. You're doing multiple roles. So you have to channel back to those multiple roles that you've done, and you have all been trained in that. That's the best part about these schools, is that you're making a film at the end and you know what storyboarding is. Even if you're not the best at it, you know what storyboarding is, what animating is, what rigging is, what effects is, what post edit is, right? Now, once you have this whole package, you know this pipeline, you take this pipeline, and this same pipeline is replicated in multiple industries in different names and terminologies. So the idea is this. So now I'm going to give you one sector, and I think most people are aware of it. Every company or every place that you have had a small part-time job, like Tim Hortons, McDonald's, Staples, or even if a bank teller, they all have a marketing and communications department. So each of these marketing communication departments create social media content. They create graphic design. They create advertising, motion graphics. So the idea is that you just have to treat that one product that they're trying to sell as your main protagonist in your film. And how do you make a story around that? And that becomes the product of that one particular corporate sector. So like, let's say this is going to be Christmas or Halloween. We're going to launch this new product from this company. They need somebody to come in, come up with those ideas, come up with the branding, come up with and based on the budget and deadline, which is basically what you did in your animation school, which is what you did in the animation industry. You're just exactly thinking the same way, except this time, instead of it being called a client, it's called a stakeholder. So it's a completely different terminology. You just have to pick up on it. But at the end of the day, you're doing the exact same thing and packaging it into a film, right? So, so there is marketing and communications department. There is another department, and us being artists, we don't know as much of the business side, so we have to educate ourselves into this. Another department is called learning and development. So learning and development sector is part of the internal communications department, where basically sometimes if the company is too big, they outsource it to a service company, like ad agencies like Publicis, Leo Burnett, Salt XC. But sometimes if it's not that big, they want to keep it internally. There is a department, right? So these departments already have people who have been in live action, who basically come up with the script. They start storyboarding these commercials. They want to keep this internal communications inside, is because there's liabilities involved. So what they need to do is every time there's a new hire, there is an orientation package. So within the part of the orientation package, you want to make it fun and exciting for that employee to be able to read and see and understand what they're learning, right? So what they will do is they will create this internal video system. I don't know if Sonia or Jose, you guys have probably been when you're part of this animation studio, you have these training videos that these companies come, right, and
Yeah.
explain you like
Yep.
cybersecurity videos,
Yeah.
health and safety videos, workplace safety hazard videos. Those are done
Yeah.
by a filmmaker
Right.
or somebody, a content creator, who's creating it from the beginning to the end, like any small live action or content or animation pipeline. It's the exact same pipeline. You're boarding it out. So that's another department that exists. That's where your transferable skills can come in handy. Another department is called UI UX development.
Oh, I love UI UX all
right?
day long.
Yep.
So that requires board artists. There is another one. It's called creative technologist. I don't know most people are aware of that. What a creative technologist is a very broad term. There is two segments to it. There's coding and then there is design, right? And then there is the part that falls under with that is visual merchandising. That's another department that you can go into. That's building live sets. You're designing them at first, then you're building it up. And sometimes I've had friends who basically design all the animations that go behind on the screen of these visual merchandising galleries. So like, for instance, I don't know if like the Bay has kind of gone from the downtown area, but where the Bay used to be, they had those big
Yep.
giant screens outside, right?
Yeah.
So on those screens, they have those live props and stuff in the front, but at the back, there's a screen. Somebody's doing those animations for that, motion graphics for that. So, and ideally in a motion graphics, there is a product. This product is your protagonist of your film. So my plan with the students is always that when you're in your fourth year film, start thinking of your protagonist as a product now, instead of as a character, which we have always traditionally thought of it. So imagine it's a shoe, it's a Nike shoe, or I can put any brand on it, but that shoe goes through a journey and then that becomes your selling point. So that's an ad or a commercial. So it's a short film. So you're hitting, I mean, nothing against PETA, but you're hitting two birds with one stone.
I mean,
That's
Right.
there's literally a movie that's called Sneaks. It came out, I think, or something.
It's called what?
Sneakers. There's a movie, like an animation.
Sneakers?
It's about shoes, and it's like
Yeah,
about
right.
shoe brands.
Yeah, there is a No
Okay.
Frills commercial, No Frills anime commercial. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. It's like shot like an anime video where this guy goes in a shopping cart and starts shopping stuff in No Frills. And then No Frills branded the whole thing, paid for it. It's product placement technically at the end of the day.
That's
But
what
I-
we are actually used to product placement in our pipelines, but now what you're saying really is not product placement. It's the product is the it's
It's
really
the story.
It's the story.
Is the story. So ideally, right now, the market is so segmented, and the people who are making decisions, they're just thinking, how can we reduce work and make those bucks to bring it into Canada? Which I'm not against capitalism. I'm just stating that, hey, more work in Canada means most of our employed. I'm up
Yeah.
for that. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
Let's go even crazier. Let's take out a camera and just go shoot and film things outside.
Yeah.
There's so much you can do and put it out there, right? So yes, there are, if you want a stable job, there are these industries. Your portfolios can be turned into specific industries. I can guide you with that. But again, if you want, there's always that foot in the door, because each one of us have had a part-time job with Tim Hortons, McDonald's, or any of those service industries. We definitely have that. So they have our file as an employee with them. That's your foot in the door already. All you need to do is go to the career section, keep an eye out, and I can show you exactly. The other day, I had a lady who works at Publicis, who basically works as a assistant media buyer. And I kind of met her in Taffy, by the way, Sonia.
Nice.
And then
Very nice.
she had a storyboard portfolio with her, and she was an assistant media planner at Publicis, and she wanted to get into animation storyboarding. And I'm like, wait a minute, let's get on a call. I open a Publicis website, I go to the career page, I show them, look, there is a thing called creative technologists. The first job is a storyboard artist.
What?
She reads it and she's like, what? I'm already there. I can already jump into it.
What?
So it's there. Every company you're looking at, they have that job. You just need to be able to read those details, not the title. Those titles are misleading.
Got it.
You understand an associate, the title associate? Associate is entry level. It
Yes,
sounds
I know
so,
that. I know
yeah,
that.
it's so
Yeah.
intimidating, right? Associate.
No,
Like I've seen,
associate is like an assistant, really.
yeah, it's
Yes.
intimidating, right? If they say assistant, it feels like it's downplaying on it. So the other day when you read associate, it's entry level. If
Yeah.
you've already worked for Tim Hortons, they know that you are an employee there. You have the lever inside.
Well, I don't
Go
know.
talk to,
My
message your low supervisor.
My McDonald's profile was like 25 years ago. You think it's still there?
Absolutely, 100%. I was at McDonald's. They would, back in the day, how crazy it was. If I went on a 15-minute break, I put my hand under a scanner and it would scan my handprint for a break, signing in and signing out. That's high tech it was. It's
No.
insane.
I don't think I had that. Mine was like a sheet or something.
But yeah,
Interesting.
it was very interesting to see. So yeah, there are these segments, these industries that exist, and this is where if you are having a hard time finding out where you fit, that's where what I've been doing at Sheridan is when I'm seeing these students, I'm guiding them towards those right directions and filling up those gaps which they are having struggled with. Like even with Taffy, I was doing those portfolio reviews, right? Back in the day for about like 5 or 4 years or 5 years with you guys, right? And I was doing the exact same thing. If they're having a hard time getting into a company in animation, then there are other places where the same work is being done. It's just called different. You just have to change your brain to think in that terms, and it works. The other day, I met somebody who works at UHN as a content creator. All he's doing is going around with the camera, shooting everything, filming it, putting it into a cut, throwing some animation on it with After Effects, advertising, and put it out there on UHN social media channels.
Yep.
That's how easy it is.
Yeah.
That's making a film right there.
I'm gonna say that I have applied to a bunch of the things you've mentioned. It's definitely out there. So I do say I have been seeing these jobs. If somebody doesn't have someone like you to guide them, do you have like something off the top of your head where it's like you can do these next 3 things to help you get started? What would they be?
Absolutely. So one primary thing I'll tell you is there are these things called job developers. I don't know if you've heard by that. Not job agencies, job developers. So
Nope.
job developers
Okay.
are so there's 3 that I am aware of who are pretty big. There's one is called Youth Employment Service. Another one is called Access Employment, ACCES, single S. And then there is another one called Dixon Hall. There's a bunch of those. Now, once you sign up with one of them, you can't sign up with another. How they get paid? How they get paid is if you get a job, they get paid by the government.
Oh,
So they
neat.
don't take
Interesting.
money. Yeah, they don't take money from the job creator. They don't take money from the employee. Those are job agencies. You don't want to go with those guys. You want to go with job developers. Now with these job developers, the idea is that they also have, so like for instance, I'm signed up with someone, right? So they have certain tie-ups with certain companies. So you have to kind of do the research. So for instance, youth employment service is more like summer jobs, temporary jobs. Then if you go to Access Employment, they have, right now, I think they're having a thing with Pearson Airport. So they have a tab with Pearson Airport. So anything you want to get a foot into the door with the Pearson Airport, they have a seminar with them, right?
Oh.
So you attend that. There is a recruitment lady who's going to be part of that chat. She's going to share her email, and then you have a direct connection with her. You skip the whole process of applying on the website, right? So then you don't have the whole ATS thing that's going on. By the way, ATS is this whole another ball game that you can dive into completely. It's a whole class by itself, which I have made documents for, by the way.
What is that?
I was going to get to that.
Oh,
So
okay,
first-
sorry.
Yeah, tell her.
Yeah, so the 3 things, right? So the first thing is job developers. Sign up with one of these guys. They also have training certifications specific with like IBM, NVIDIA, and whatnot. You do those real quick, and then that certifies you or qualifies you to work with those companies. So, and if you go to those job fairs, here's the trick. So if you go to one of those private job fairs that they host, you're the only one coming from the animation side. Now that I told you that they have marketing and communications department, You go to those job fairs, you pitch yourself as a marketing, communication, social media content creator, or digital media artist, or a graphic designer. Go with terms, learn these terms that they use and they identify. You take those with you, and then you go in and you pitch yourself in that way. And that's how you get your way into those companies.
Excellent.
So, yeah, so that's job developers. Second thing with Sonia and that you guys wanted to know is ATS. Now, big corporations, and I had mentioned this earlier, big corporation companies like TD Bank, for instance, or Capital or Finance or marketing,
Right.
they all have, you would think AI is now. No, AI has existed for the last 20 years. That AI was called ATS, application tracking software. There's multiple different versions of those. The idea is these ATSs exist because they want to help the recruitment department cycle through thousands or hundreds of resumes.
Okay.
There is literally thousands and hundreds of resumes. Everybody wants a secure corporate job. Everybody wants a government job. They're all using ATS. So now, this is something what I would, if you're aiming for something big, start learning about ATS. There is thousands of videos out there about it. There is a lot that you can learn, and I can guide you through a train of thought as to how to go about it. So the idea with ATS is that it's based on keywords and structure of your resume. Most times when you're in colleges and whatnot, they will kind of show you a certain way to do a resume. That plays well with, like, let's say if I'm in the animation industry, I can make a nice looking, beautiful resume using Canva, or I can learn using Photoshop, right? But the problem with those resumes is that, and I've tested this, by the way, I've tested it with the corporate sector. As soon as you upload an image resume or PDF, it tells you that you're rejected right away.
It's dead.
Yeah, so now you have to hack that system, figure out exactly what you have to do. So the idea is basic word templates.
Yep.
Very basic, not even underlines, no bolds, no colors, because ATS won't be able to read it. Those keywords needs to match the job description. Of course, at the end of the day, you still have to check it, but there are things that are long. Now, the trick that I teach is how do you use AI on top of your resume to hack into an AI so that your resume is noticed. So there are certain prompts that I've created and I have collected, and these kind of help you. But at the end of the day, remember when you're driving, you still have to look at your blind side. You can't just rely on the mirror. You still have to do that. And your story needs to be your story. So that's ATS is another second thing that you need to master if you want a stable corporate job or a government job. And then the third thing that I would tell you is referral. Referral is your way to jump that ATS system, and it goes straight to the recruiter. So how the referral system works, you have to kind of understand this. Depending on what sector you're applying to, that referral thing, completely different process. So when you see a job posting, please don't apply to it. Yes, I'm telling you not to apply to it, because if you apply to it, your referral is gone. It's not going to work. So the idea is first thing, and most of these referrals that are internal, even they don't know this process. So I'm telling you this process. The process is, let's say if I know somebody at the bank TD, let's say I know somebody in the bank, another bank, or another financial sector, and they're all dependent on ATS. So the idea is you reach up that person is like, hey, can you refer me for this? And figure out what incentive they get if they refer you. That's your way in. Because it's like, hey, I know that TD gives out a certain, don't quote me on this, but it gives out, let's say, $500 for every referral, right?
Wow.
So now the trick is this. So you basically tell them that this is the job posting. You send them your resume once you have finalized it based on the job description, it's a PDF. You give that resume to that person and be like, hey, can you upload it into the internal system? So they will upload it as a reference in the internal system. That email, once they do that, that will shoot an automated email to your email with a specific link. That link is custom to you. Now, when you click that and you apply, it goes straight to them.
That's so specific. And you find that people actually are willing to do it?
If you find them that incentive,
Right.
They're willing to do it.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there are
The
other reasons.
incentive, yeah, incentive being putting food on the table. That's a huge incentive right there.
Yeah, it's like each of these studios or each of these, these corporate companies have that, and it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's in a negative context. You have to think reliability. These companies and corporations have very big liability. You hear those Loblaws bread lawsuit. You hear all of those. They have to do things by the book. They can lose a lot of money in millions. So they have to do their due diligence. For instance, I'll tell you, so last 2 months I was on top of my work. I had signed up to do enumerator for Census Canada, Statistics Canada. I was an enumerator. I was doing door to door. I learned from them is that, hey, you want to be following up as much as possible. I would go through over 70 to 80 houses on a condo from top to bottom, taking the stairs. I
Right.
got to the record of 13 knocks, 13 houses per hour. You would go through 70 or 80 of those, and you would only get 10 forms filled. Do you see the number? But the idea is this: if I only went through 5 or 6 knocks, I'm gonna get 2. If I go through 13 or 15, I'm gonna get 10. So that's all math, right? It's all proportion.
Yep.
So the more I follow up, the more references I get in, my chances are higher.
Yep.
Right. So here's a question then. How would people, and I know you kind of been touching on this, but leading to what you actually, a workshop that we're going to have soon with you, I'll let you kind of take over that in a minute, but it's essentially this: how do we turn the skills that we have built in our animation industry, this time, how do we turn that into something tangible that we can get something, some job in the meanwhile to, put food on the table, but not forget, our passion, which is the craft, like how do we get jobs? Because there's a lot of people out there who are like, I haven't worked in a long time, but they feel like the only skills I have is animations. Like, who's gonna hire me for this? So here's where you come in. You're the key right here. So how could you tell people you're an animator, you can only draw? How can you transfer those skills?
So the idea is this: that it's new. So you have first thing that you want to find out is what's the software that all of these different departments use, right? So for instance, if you're looking at something like marketing and communications department, they're heavily reliant on Canva. So first, Canva is a lot easier, right? It has already pre-made templates, everything. So basically all you're trying to do is use that platform, master it, and figure out so my idea would be this. Let's say if I want to work for TD Bank in the marketing department, I'm going to study some of their ads, brochures. You freaking go out walking in front of a bank, you'll see all those banners and posters. They already have those templates, right? So all you're doing is, let's say if I'm to apply for this, I'm just creating a portfolio that looks like branding text for a new checkings account. All you're doing is creating that, have that portfolio ready, and you can use that same portfolio to apply in multiple banks, right? So you're treating it as, so let's say for instance, I'm a designer on a show, right? So let's say on Magic School Bus, I've seen certain portfolios on Magic School Bus. On Magic School Bus, you have so many screens. On Wildcrafts, a show like that, you have so many screens. Each of those screens had UI UX designs. All the designers created those, and in comp, we would take that and animate those little logos and infographics, right? So those are already part of your portfolio. All you're doing is recognizing that you did that work, and you're putting it into a motion graphics portfolio or an animation or marketing design portfolio. You're putting that into that specific segment. So the idea is this, and this is what I've been telling even in Taffy with all the portfolio students. You have to be able to give that specific hyperlink with that specific type of portfolio. Even if those pieces repeat in different tabs, you're just going to be giving them that specific link to that specific thing that they need. So you need to have multiple tabs on your website or the portfolio. So be specific with the link so you don't waste their time. They see exactly what they need to, and it matches what they're posted for. So let's say if you're an animation designer, you have always been designing stuff, vector. Remember, harmony is vector, right? As an entry level position, you're as a designer, not a fun pack artist. I'm talking about as a designer, you are literally taking the fun pack drawings and vectorizing them in harmony. You're doing the exact same thing in Canva. You're doing the exact same thing in Figma. You're creating in Figma, you do UI UX designs. These are all vector graphic design. You're using Adobe InDesign to do the same thing, vector designs. You're creating these portfolios, and hey, you don't really need to tell them that you use this software. Those softwares are transferable skills. As long as you can replicate what it looks like, then pick up that job. That's the idea. When I got hired at 9story for the compositor job, I did not know Tool Move Harmony, and I had told them that. But they saw something that I'd done with After Effects, which was the same transferable skill in Tool Move Harmony. So the software does not matter. It only matters that you're aware that this is the software they use. So you tell them, hey, look, I know the software that we use is the exact same thing that I do here. I've had a friend who basically did quality assurance on animated series, 3D, right? The way, as soon as he got through in referral, you get that interview, you show them, look, quality assurance in a 3D show is the same as quality assurance in advertising pipeline. Right. This is the same thing. Once you know, and I show you that this is where you bridge the gap, you pitch that in your interview, they see a vote of confidence in you, and then you're able to get that job. So that vote of confidence, bridging the gaps between the two jobs, it's where I come in, where it's like, I look at the portfolio and be like, okay, this is where your strengths are. This is where you can apply. So that publicist example that I gave you, where she wanted to get into storyboarding, but she's an assistant media planner, she has a way into the company already. She has the foot in the door. All she has to do is take that portfolio and cater that portfolio to exactly what publicist does, which is product advertising, right? So This is where you bridge the gap. You make that portfolio, show them, look, I've been already doing storyboarding. This is a perfect fit for me. I'm already in part of this company. And that the fact that you're part of that company already, they will give you that job because that's less liability. Again, the second thing also I would tell you on top of that, when you see these job postings, see what they're asking for. There is AODA certifications, AODA, Accessibility, Ontario Disability Association certificates. These certificates exist for free. Have those, get those ready. It takes about 2 hours to get that. Get that certification into your resume. They will see that you put that effort. Mention that in your cover letter. So there are these certain certifications that you do, they're part of your resume. That will get you more employed, or hireability will increase. Once you see where you can bridge those gaps, you can pitch that in the interview. Pitch yourself to do that, and that gets you the job. That's the idea. So I just gave you an example of a designer, right? How you can transfer into this. I actually have evidential proof of people who were in animation industry. I have a friend of mine who's has been in the animation industry for the longest time. She's a UX designer for Shopify now. Nice. So as a designer, you can transfer into this. As a shot filing artist, you can transfer into quality assurance in an advertising agency. Let's say a storyboard artist, you can be a creative technologist at an advertising agency. Let's say as a filmmaker, as an editor, right? As an assistant editor or an editor, you can be part of the learning and development crew for all these big corporations. You can be a social media content creator. All the government jobs like Halton Region, Peel Region, they're all looking for digital media artists. So you have to remember this title. A digital media artist is the same as a graphic designer, but the title is completely different. So the job is the same. Read the description. This will show you how to read those. The one example I'll give you, and this was the coolest thing that happened at Sheridan College Industry Day. I knew that the industry was down, so I was able to bring like about 15 creatives who have done this transferable skill thing, come from different backgrounds and working in different fields, and I was able to get those people in there for the students, right? And while I was doing that, I networked and found out that, hey, there is a company that is ready to sponsor the industry day for free parking. And I was able to get that for Sheridan College, right? It's a win-win for both of them. Yeah. So when you start doing this, you will network and find out, oh my God, there are so many more things in common than there are not. So idea is that look at your portfolio, revisit it a bunch of times, and see where things connect. And another idea, you have I know that there is so much skepticism with AI, but you can all there is always a like yin and yang, right? There's always a pro side to it too. I wouldn't tell you to throw your portfolio in there. I don't want your data being breached, but you can always put your resume in there because your job is still going to be your job. Nobody can steal that. Hey, 10 years ago, I worked 8 years at Brown Bag. Nobody can steal that data, right? And be like, hey, now I can say I worked there at 8 years because there is only one Ayan Sendupta that worked 8 years at Brown Bag. So I'm not putting my portfolio. I'm putting my resume in there and I'm being like, hey, Claude, hey, Perplexity, find me jobs that are exactly equivalent to this and post me the links to it in the last 3 days. It will do that for you. You don't even have to go out and search. And there is a segment for web search in it. In Perplexity Pro, there is a segment for check for deep search in it. There is things I will tell you. If you have a BMO account, you can get Perplexity Pro for free for 1 year. There are things like that. Which you can use. You don't have to waste a single money. Jose, if we had met before, I would have showed you how you could have got to Move Harmony for free. But I wouldn't put it on record here. So let's just say there are ways, right? It's like
it's not knowing, right? Like that's the thing is like there's a lot of information out there. Like if you don't know, you don't know, right? But again, this is where we bring people like you to come in here and talk about things that we never thought probably about. Right, that's a very important thing.
Yeah, like
especially,
for instance, sorry to cut you off. For instance,
no.
the last 16 years I've been working with this NGO for these cultural branding and stuff. I have reached museums because it's very specific to this culture, and there is a lot of pieces from this culture that live in certain museums, right? So I have reached museums. I found permissions from them. I've been able to curate those high resolution pictures of those and put it as a magazine cover. So one thing is that it's spreading awareness to the culture. At the same time, that museum is also getting business because it's already out there. So it's a win-win. You have to show that both of you are winning. It's not one against the other. You got to go like this. That's how you'll survive. That's how you'll survive. Nobody's fighting with you. It has to be I call
mutual
it,
interest.
I call it, you know how there is a thing called survival of the fittest? I call it survival with the fittest. You got to survive it. Everybody's got to do it. So there are ways, there are roadmaps like this. And this is where it's like, don't spend a penny if you don't have any. Spend the penny when you have, and then maybe look out for everyone at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So this is where I kind of come in. And again, don't break any laws or rules, but be as annoying as Statistic Canada is to get a form signed on the doors. So
be ethical, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like given the burnout, everybody has been in that position.
Oh, so 100%.
They will empathize. They'll definitely empathize. And the person who doesn't empathize, there is a second person standing there to empathize for you. So go to that person, go to that person, go to that person. There you will. It's there's somebody there out there to help you.
Yeah. This is definitely the times that we should be sticking together to help each other move forward, because it's like everybody's very unique in what they bring to the table. Mm-hmm. You know, I know it's going back to, it's like, you're a unique individual, but you kind of are. We all can draw, but we all have different approaches to it. It's how we see. This is the thing about it. It's how we see things, right? Everybody sees things different. And again, that's something that AI can't do. All it can do is copy. Mm-hmm. So, and here's another difference too. And I know I keep repeating myself like a broken record, but there is a difference between general AI and generative AI, and I hope people know the difference. And if you don't, it's generative is the one that we have to be very careful with. Mm-hmm. That's the one that people are copying, making a lot of but general AI that we use, like Claude, and Claude, it could be very useful, again, like you're saying, pumping up your resume. Because there's sometimes you will write your resume and not realize that you're missing skills. If you really start writing down your skills, what you've done, and just put it aside, it's like to think about, if you, like, I never thought about it as like, supervising on a show. I was like, that's managing a team.
What's the project management? There's project
Right,
management right
project
there.
manager.
Yeah.
So what skills are you missing out of that? So there might be little gaps.
Mm-hmm.
How do you fill those gaps in? And
Mhm.
that's where the trick lies. Like you need to know what you're missing to be able to fill those holes.
Yeah, there is.
That's where you come in.
Yeah, there is things like, for instance, in your resume, you want to make it. Let's say if you're applying for a marketing role, they want to see data. They want to see quantitative, right?
Right.
So instead of saying, so in my let's say the last job I did, right? I wrote like, oh, I was a compositor on a show, a 20-minute episodic, right? That's
Yeah.
not showing results. It's not showing any results. So
Right.
the results would be is that, hey, I was able to bring down a 20-minute episode with 250 shot count to a successful delivery within a week. That's
Right.
quantitative. That's a result. So you want to be able to write things in that terms. So the person who's receiving on the other, you're thinking like what the client would want, right? What the target
Yeah.
audience would want. You want to make it easier for
Right.
them. When they're siphoning through thousands of resumes, you want to be able to siphon it for them that make
What's
it
going to
easier.
make it pop out?
Exactly. And make it easier to read. So you don't end up. So first step is the ATS. And then, of course, the person, if the person reads it, you want to make it easier for them. Right?
Right.
And then
Right.
that's the idea where you use Claude, Perplexity to, because your experience is still there. You're not lying in any of those things. You're just changing words like client to stakeholder or anything quantitative, right? The
Yeah.
other thing that the other day that really helped me was it also helps you segregate based on all the jobs you've done. It also helps you segregate as to when you're applying for a certain job. It tells you, okay, these are the ones that mostly correlate with that, so you can group them together. So now when I have about 8 studio experiences, right, I can't write all of them. It's insane. My thing's going to be a curriculum vitae, which is going to be like 3 pages long. Nobody's going to read through a 3-page resume. So the idea is instead of putting all those jobs into separate segments, I put them under, like all my freelances under my satellite studio across the minutes. I'm not going to list all of them. I've done documentaries. I've done the live action shooting. I've done live action compositing, music videos. I can't put each of them as a job. So I'm going to group them together under my satellite studio, or I'm going to label it as a multidisciplinary artist. Because when I apply to a corporate job, they're not going to understand what a compositor is. They're not going to understand what
you need to translate it for them.
Right? Yeah. So what I would do is I would put it as a social media content creator, the job they're asking for, and I'll group everything together, label some of my achievements, which they can understand. So for instance, when I worked at the ad agency, when I was initially applying for work, nobody knew the ad agency name, but they knew the channels that I worked for. So I worked for Bravo, I worked for History, Discovery, they know that. So I would write those in their terms so they understand where I come from. If I'm mentioning animated shows I worked on, most people haven't seen previous shows, but they know what PBS is. They know what Netflix is. They know YouTube is. So I will put it in that way. It's rephrasing your words. And AI can't do that completely for you, but it can help you brainstorm. Like this correlates with that. This correlates with that. So you make it easier for the person to read across from you. But the idea is that you want to get to a point of, I wouldn't say it's AI agents. I want to call it templates, right? It's like, I don't know if you've ever been to Egypt, but when I was in Egypt, I saw like the same template for a bird, God Ra, bird. That hieroglyph template is exact same geometric measure as the temple that's 30 kilometers away. How did they do that? Because it's a tablet. That tablet traveled, and they used that tablet to do the same design everything. It was so precise. It's beautiful. I'm applying the same thing here. You want to get to the efficiency point where you have these templates are at your fingertip. You're applying for a teaching job. You're applying for a studio job. You're applying for a corporate job. Those templates are ready, and you want to get to an efficient point where you're able to apply within the 1 hour of it posting.
Right.
That's the idea. So you can hit that first 50 people who apply, and you get that call. And this is tested, 70% tested.
So I'm just gonna have like one last question, I think. Do you think that, okay, I think people get really overwhelmed with where they should be applying and how to keep track of that, like, that job pops up, right? Like, it's so much, right? So what would be a good kind of like tip to just like, other than just like apply everywhere and put notifications, and then your email
Yeah.
is blasted with notifications.
So primarily, this is what I do is you don't want to rely on third-party companies like LinkedIn or
Okay.
Indeed because everybody's on those. The idea is
Yeah.
if you see a post on LinkedIn, you go to the company's website that's definitely on their career page. You want to apply directly through that. Now, the coolest part is in Claude or Perplexity or any of these AIs, when you select the deep search thing, you get it to do is you want to ask it to do a search within the day. And it will
Okay.
link you everything directly. You don't even have to like do search or find or Google or anything. You just put it in Claude, it gives you all the links, and you directly go to the link and apply. And I believe in Perplexity, you can even set it up to do it automated every day. It won't send you an email, but at least in the downloaded computer version, it will literally show you that, look, it's updating every day, automated. And it's showing you 10 links, 20 links that have been posted in the last hour or last day, however you want to prompt it. That's what I would do. I would use this technology to find links to those jobs that are already there.
Right.
So you don't have to go looking for it.
Yeah.
That's my tip for that. Like,
Yeah, because
use
it is
AI
very.
to find, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the question, because it's very difficult. You go to job sites and you click on it. Sometimes it tells you how many people have applied on it, or and everybody obviously, like, we're desperate to get work,
Yeah.
and it's like everybody would just throw everything at it. It's like,
Yeah.
now doing this tip, I hope everybody's kind of taking note on this. If not, this is going to be staying in YouTube. So I hope the everybody comes back and reviews all this stuff, pass it along. This is really important information that we as artists, creators, we need to have. But what about this? We're gonna have this workshop with Ian coming soon. This is gonna be a pre-recorded one. So any more details on that you want to talk on, Ian, like, that
Yeah,
you would like to share?
one more thing I wanted to point out, and this is the coolest thing ever. So you're gonna put an effort to find a job, right? I gave you
Mm-hmm.
one job developers. So, oh, that's my camera. Sorry, a second.
Uh-oh. Oh no,
Sorry,
he
I'm
did the
back. It
bad.
goes
Magic.
VHS at some point. It's awesome. So the idea is you're applying jobs on your own. That's fine. You do your part. You have a job developer who's looking work for you. So there are two of you looking for work for you. So you do that. Now, there is two more sections that you can use for finding jobs. So there are in Toronto Metro Convention Center and Arcadia Hall. On Eventbrite, if you go, there is Career Expo, there is convention, job fair conventions, and these are agencies that also get paid from these companies to get hired. So they all have
Ah,
job fairs monthly,
beauty.
twice. And the cool part is this, there are entry-level jobs as well, but there are other job agencies they require people with 10 to 20 years of experience. They also come there. Sign up with those guys. Then you have a third IM looking for job for IM, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have job so you have like these career expos, these expos that exist that are constantly looking for job for you. So you multiply your chances, basically multiply your chances with these. The other thing that I also do is, like, when you're signing up with the job developers, try to one of those seasonal jobs as well or summer jobs so that they see that you're reliable, right? You're
Yeah.
building that trust with them. And then once you're in one of those places, they all have a social media marketing department. They're all on the social media. Somebody's doing that work for them. You
Yeah.
become that guy because they're already part of it. So I've
Yeah.
already got, like, I work for I don't know if you've heard of this company it's called Green Ninjas. They just do
No.
recycling collections for events, right? So like they did that
Okay.
for FIFA Fan Fest. So I did on top of the Statistics Canada census and the mainframe job, I did that on the weekends for FIFA. Now I'm on their roster. Now they're aware of who I am, and they are going to look out for opportunities for me in the social media. And guess what? When I was doing the statistics Canada, there's a lady there, senior lady. She does volunteer for tennis tournaments and other tournaments,
Oh
and Green
wow.
Ninja is there. So now she's raving about me over in those jobs. So now I have more clout built up. I'm a bigger brand now, right?
Yeah.
So do you see what I just did there?
Yeah.
So she talks
I
about
think
me
this
there, and then you build it, right?
Yeah, and we can go into more detail too at the workshop, but it's something that we got to think about as being artists that we basically are a brand. We need to create our own brand. And how do we do this? Well, let's come and see the workshop, and we'll have some details coming up very soon. I want to thank Ian for coming in today. Thank you for
Thank
spending
you.
an hour.
Thank you.
Actually, we went over time. Thank you
As
so
usual.
much. Yeah, we do, but that's
We
okay.
can
We
never
have
do an
such great
hour. We can
conversations.
never do an
I know it's
hour.
great.
Unlike
I know
Captain
it's
America,
difficult. We
like
can just
Cap,
keep going.
we could do this all day.
I
Absolutely.
know, right?
And such a
Yeah.
good
But
one too.
yeah, we wanna thank you so much for coming in and talking about all these very important things. And this doesn't mean it takes away from you creating as an artist. This is the beautiful part: is like you get to work a job, come home, and you'll have time. You'll eat dinner with your family, and then you'll have time to work on your IP, on your illustrations, on the things that you love doing. So that's something to look forward to. Anyways,
Yeah.
thank you everybody. Sonia,
Yeah,
Ian.
no, yeah, we're super lucky to have you with us today. Like,
Yeah.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
One last thing, apply for TIFF. They are hiring. Apply for Elections Canada. They are hiring.
TIFF is hiring
Excellent.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
are.
Those are two good spots
Do
for
it.
creatives.
It's true.
Do it.
Do
We'll see you
it.
until next
Do it.
time.
Yes.
Bye,
Awesome.
YouTube. Oh yeah, I have to
Bye
hang this up.
everybody.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
There we
All right.
go.
The
Hang up.
gun.